Oh, Casey's here.
I think Casey's here. Casey's a few minutes early, but you can have him on. Casey, if you want to join.
Casey, you have to share a video, Casey.
Oh, shoot.
Casey.
Wow.
I jumped the gun. I was like, "Oh, they're gonna set stuff up," and then and then
are you calling in? Are you calling in from an NPR podcast?
I wasn't fully set up. I was like, "Oh, I'll come in, get set up, say hi," but it's like, "Oh, this is live." And
it's live. It's gonna do it live.
So,
how you doing?
I am chilling and 10 minutes early. This is like the like you show up in a meeting 10 minutes early and you're like, oh, I'm not supposed to be here right now.
No, you're good.
We back out.
How you doing?
Where
are you calling in from?
Doing good. Calling in from my son's bedroom. Literally adjacent to.
Hey.
Oh wow! Literally
at the crib.
At the crib. Hey.
That's what's up.
Where is your son now?
He is outside in the rest of this house. It's been very fun every morning saying, "Daddy's got to go to work." I'm gonna go to the office, and I'll see you later. And then I show up an hour later, and I gotta go to the bathroom. He's like, "I want to play," and it's like, I gotta go back to work. It's a little devastating, but also very adorable.
How many kids?
What's up? One kid, one son. He's 3 and a few months. Okay. Yeah, 3. He's 3.
Damn, that must be a lot. He must be super happy that you're home all the time.
I think it's like a mix of this is great, but also like my wife is like, yeah, you don't know how hard it is to keep a kid out of your room who just wants to play with dad because he knows I'm on the other side of the door. It's like heartbreaking on my end and incredibly frustrating for my wife. So,
man, that's sweet.
But like we grab lunch together, or we try to, as long as I don't have meetings, which is like most days of the week, which has been pretty chill. It's a nice break.
Awesome. Yeah.
Walk out and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna have lunch with my kid and wife and kid, family, and then.
Do you have like an outdoor space or anything like you can go? No.
Nah, we're in like, just a 2-bedroom apartment in Queens.
I'm in a studio in Lower East Side, and we have a very small balcony that I've never used up until this time.
Hey.
Now I use it. I think it's meant to be essentially like a smoker's balcony, but I just go outside to listen to the hum of like the air conditioners to keep me calm.
The ambient New York street vibes. Probably pretty quiet though, I bet, relatively speaking nowadays.
Yes, and the thing is, like my room faces like not the street level, so it's always been pretty quiet. But now it's obviously very quiet. And during the day in LES is pretty chill. It's more nighttime is when it gets rowdy. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm calling from Jersey, where it's just it's kind of hard for me to like move the stuff, get everything going on, but it's just a suburb, just grass,
look at
houses, so forth.
That.
Yeah,
you got a lawn. Yeah, I was going for a run yesterday. You don't have to dodge people on your run. I bet you're just like
right. just outside, just birds and deers. Yo, actually, there are a lot of deers in this area. Like if I go to like near dusk or dawn, there are just like actual like herds of deer, and deers aren't like dangerous, but I'm more afraid of them being afraid of me and like being like making weird behavior. It's kind of like it's like 30 deer like in a row.
Like this guy.
Yeah, exactly. Like they like all stare. It's like every tree terrifying. They all like stare at you simultaneously, and you're like, uh-oh, like I gotta like just keep going. Don't pretend like I don't see anything, but it's weird.
Have like I think they were saying that there was like this must be fake. Might have been fake news. I may be wrong. Where like during the lockdown, like there's way less smog or pollution in China or whatever, and I don't know if that's true or not. But for me personally, I'm definitely spending way less money. So I'm definitely not contributing to the general like machine that is like producing shit beyond going to the grocery store. So it does feel like things are kind of like receding a little bit, right? It's very hilarious.
Yeah, I was looking at my credit card statement. I'm like, like not buying lunch, cooking more. I'm like, okay. Interesting.
Maybe you don't need all those things.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, we have like an active chat going on. I just realized this. There's a little control panel, and Nico, Will, and Kevin all say what's up.
Sick.
And Gary. So
of course, Gary's in there.
Yeah, they're all watching this. Wait, so like Casey, so you're at Justworks. Justworks is not like a remote company.
We are not a remote company. Actually, like quite the opposite. Yeah.
What's that been like, man?
I mean, it's been interesting because we made the decision, rather the company shut down last Tuesday, I think. So we've been all working from home since the 17th, and it's been an adjustment. With like all hands meetings, like 600 people jumping in on a live stream. Slack is popping. I've been on Zoom, like tons of Zoom calls, right? Like I picked up this microphone as a way to rationalize, like, I need to improve how I show up on these calls. This is like also my contribution to the economy, which is super stupid. I'm just gonna. My wife was like, "What are you gonna do? You're gonna record stuff with Amos? Are you recording a podcast?" Or like, I'm like, "Oh, I don't know. This is super. I didn't think this through." But yeah, no. I mean, it's been good, making it work.
Do you feel like you're in more meetings than where you were before?
I think it's about the same. The same. You know, I've been trying to be pretty aggressive around like, do we need to meet right now? Can this be an email? Like, do I need to be here? So I've been fortunately like, and also aggressively blocking off, like, I need to step away, you know, like go for a run, go eat lunch, and balance the time away. Because there's no commute anymore too, right? So it's just like, right, like it was bye Amos, and then whoop, I'm at work. Like there was no like 30-minute train ride to like kind of adjust and transition. It's just like, okay.
You don't do like a lap around your apartment. It's like, I'm going, bye, see you.
Yeah, like go like walk outside. You know, one thing I do is I do get dressed though, and like yesterday was the first day I worked in sweatpants, and I was like, nah, this doesn't feel right. Like it's more comfortable, and it's like the rational thing to do. But I think to like really get in the mindset of being like, I'm going somewhere and have separate space, you know, in terms of like creating space, like getting dressed for the day has been important.
Have your eating habits changed? Because I feel like I'm eating way more food.
I'm eating. Really? I feel like I'm in the minority of like
healthier food.
I'm healthier, eating less and exercising more than I was before.
Yes,
I'm on your side, Casey. I've been eating so much healthier because I got to cook all my food, and once you like cook the food, like I feel like you have to be like, all right, like I obviously can't add fat to this. Like it's like, you know, you're the actual like, you know, provider of your own sustenance. You got to like think about what you're putting in there.
Yeah.
So like Kirk, why are you eating more? Like what are you just snacking all the time, or like what's the?
I think it's a bit of snacking. I think like I have like I used to have a smoothie and I have cereal, and we always do lunch, like a sandwich or something, or leftovers, and we cook every night. But I think I'm more snacking in like the lunch to dinner time, which I did not do when we were like working together in like in Samsung. But I'm definitely also not drinking any coffee or alcohol, which is kind of wild. So that's also adding to my life probably to some degree. And it's also like inverting some habits. Like I think now I might have a coffee like as a treat on the weekends, like but not to work. Like I don't need it to work anymore, which is kind of weird. Also the days kind of feel a little bit. I think maybe the snack is like a way to break up the day. That's probably what it is too. But I am definitely feeling healthier, so I feel lucky.
Yeah, I realized like how much when I'm more mindful of being like, I'm turning to sugar right now after like 3 hours of Zoom calls where I'm I'm crashing. I want to pick me up, instead of just being like a little more mindless about it. And then I also realized I'm like, do I really want a sandwich for lunch again? I'm like, no. And then I think thinking
bought
through
4 pounds of turkey.
4 pounds.
Yeah, I fucked up because I was like, I just nodded to the butcher and I was like, okay, 4 pounds. And we've been eating turkey. We've been eating turkey breasts the whole sometimes we double up on the meals.
Double up on it.
Well,
I realized like how much I've been bored. Where I'm just like I'm solving. It's a boredom thing. I'm not like hungry. I'm just bored, and I'm like, oh well, I just need to eat, and then just get over like, okay, eat the sandwich, move on with life.
Have you like done anything to like new to like fill the time?
No, not really. Like I think.
Oh, you got a kid, so like the kid will fill the time.
The kid will fill the time.
That's like,
the kid fill the time.
Do you spend more? I know your son wants to spend more time with you, but do you spend more time with your kids, which must be great?
I think it's yeah. Like, you know, like dinner. It's like right, like magically appear right there. It's like, you know, hang out with him, or right, like I think giving him a hug in between. Like I got to run to the bathroom. He like runs up and is like, and he's like, I want to play, and I'm like, no, I got to go play, which is.
That's so adorable.
Which is cool. So instead of seeing like coworkers and colleagues and stuff, it's more just.
What does your wife think about you being home all the time?
I think it secretly drives her nuts. Like she's just like, oh, like this would be so much easier if you were not here.
Get in the way, Casey.
But it's like it's a mixed bag, right? Like there's upside and downside. You know, it's like it's cool to be around but a little distracting. So, but overall good. All right, this is when I actually should have showed up. So I can also like leave 10 minutes early and then dip into the chat after this.
No, we got time. So if you want, yeah. I guess like, what do you like this more? Or do you like this less? Like, if you actually had time to like set up your full NPR studio, like all that kind of stuff, like, would you want more of this or less of this?
I like the portfolio of, I think I lean more towards liking this. Although I think this is changing week to week. Like last week I was like, this is great. I realized how draining an office can be, for me, where I'm just like super tired because like people are moving around, you're just super distracted. And at home I'm just like locked in, and like I've found them more energized. But also this week it's like, like I'm kind of annoyed, a little bit bummed, not being able to like exercise as much or just be able to move around. Changes stuff. So like, I don't know. I think I like getting 1 or 2 days of interaction in office, but I think my default state is this.
Yeah, that's cool.
Or rather, my resting state, like preferred state.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you think like that answer changed, like having kids, having a son? Like, would your answer been different? Like, if you didn't have Amos?
Oh yeah. So would I don't know. I think I was always kind of like, I like small groups, kind of a limited interaction. Like I want some, but not like I was talking to the other product folks on the team and they're like, I miss my team. I get energy from them. I'm like, that ain't me.
Yeah.
Like, that's not me. Just like, I'm like, I don't miss anyone. This is actually really great. No one's bugging me for stuff.
I don't miss anyone.
I can ignore email. We have like our stand-ups and stuff. But I didn't have that. I'm not one drawing energy from the team and like seeing people day to day, right? That's actually kind of like, it's the opposite dynamic where I'm like being drained through social interaction. And it was just interesting to hear. I'm just like, I'm just the weirdo introvert, hardcore introvert that's just like, no, this is great in some ways.
Yeah. True. I think it's also like just the choice, right? Being able to choose. That's like the huge thing. I think like it's hard to give an honest answer too, because like this is all being forced on everyone, right? Like we're not choosing to opt into this mode, right? Like
yeah, it's been interesting. I saw like a post around like how to facilitate like a breakout design workshop, and it's like, because we have to figure it out, and like people are figuring it out, and it's like all this stuff where you're working it out. And I think it used to feel really overwhelming, and it's like, this ain't changing. We are not going to be showing up in person.
Yeah.
Has much changed for you guys? Like now working, because you guys are super tight, and having seen you work, and now you're like being disconnected a little bit. How have things changed for you guys?
I feel like, since it's just the two of us, it's like most of the value of us working in person is just like the motivational aspect.
Yeah.
Like, it's nice to have like,
like
team showing, like high five, like let's do this today, like
celebrate
the wins in person. So I feel like we're trying to figure out ways to like have more of that. Like honestly, like this, even doing this like interaction is just kind of like our way of like,
it's kind of doing that.
Because this is kind of always in our energy. It's just like we like shooting the shit with people, and that's always been like just kind of like our MO.
I think this whole like experience, I don't think honestly day to day it's really changed, because we batch our meetings, we do a lot of them over video anyways, and then we mostly just kind of go heads down work in the afternoon. So like that hasn't changed. I miss having a real workspace, and I've kind of retrofitted this, but I do think like before people used to be like, oh, like it's hard to brainstorm or it's hard to like collaborate digitally. I don't think that's actually true. I think there's just a different way to do it, and there's different fidelities. The tools have gotten a lot better, but I do think it's really hard to replace the in-person like camaraderie or the social interactions or just the energy you get out of being around other human beings. And I miss that at work, and I miss that like socially too. Like that's like a huge like thing that's affecting me now. So day to day, it's also we're only 2 people, right? So it's like it's kind of very easy to resolve things because it's just one other person.
To our own credit, also, Kirk and I are super in about writing everything down.
We do write stuff down.
We have like one epic Notion that like has basically the whole company exists within Notion, like a Notion board, or a series of Notion boards. And if we weren't like that, if we were more just kind of like ad hoc talking, I don't think it would have been easy for us.
It'd be much harder to do.
Like Kirk's wife, like they're not very like written stuff down, so it's like they're trying to make it a harder position.
She works at L'Oreal, Donna, my wife, and it's essentially like an oral culture. Like people just do everything in person and in a meeting. So like I don't know how well they're doing with this transition, because I'm sure culturally, like the people they hire and retain, and they like that. But like the big selling point of that working at the company. So to all go into like Microsoft Teams now, they're like, I don't know. This is what I signed up for. Yeah.
I guess like Casey, is Justworks more like an oral culture, or is it more writing stuff down? Since you were a tech company, but you like all worked in New York City.
Yeah, it changed. I think it used to be when I started, right? So I joined the company like 5 years ago, and I think it was a lot more written. Mm-hmm. And I think there was like no laptops in meetings, like piles of notepads everywhere, and the expectations and the cultural norms were easier to enforce. And then, right, like a bunch of people get hired, like closer to 600 now. And like at some point that kind of dropped away, or it became more oral, because it's just like you let things drop unless you have like the discipline to, or someone kind of enforcing that, being like, hey, we're going to really this is what we want. And it's like the, whatchamacallit, entropy sets in, and it's just like, all right, we're going to do the thing that's the easiest to do, which is just like, the oral, some stuff gets written down. And I think it varies team by team, person by person too, but
that's very interesting. I thought it would have gone the other way. Like I would think like a looser startup would be like, they don't document stuff. Like I thought we were weird in the fact that we write things down, and it would be mostly in person with a smaller group. And then as you get bigger, you can't do that. So you have to document stuff down. But it actually went the other way for Justworks.
Yeah. I mean, it's not that like stuff doesn't get written down. I don't know. Other people might feel different.
But there's definitely way more meetings. There's no escaping that, right? Yeah.
Yep.
That's a function of people usually.
Yep.
Right. Yeah.
Yep. And like the number of things that could go wrong, or like people whose daily workflows you can mess up. So it's just like the coordination costs go up, right?
Yeah. Is there anything you would recommend people, now that we're going through this weird ass transition, like any small ritual or habit or anything else that you've done personally that you'd recommend to other people, just to either make things more productive, more pleasant, easier, not boring?
Yeah, I've been liking like just walking away. Just need to get right here. I'm not available for a half hour, go for a run, get some like be distant and like safe. But that's been good. I think for Zoom calls too, right? Like instead of normally I'm like, let's get into it and like be super hard ass about agenda and like diving in and not wasting time, but right, like we don't have these outlets anymore to just kind of like shoot the shit. And so like
small talks on the agenda.
Like for the first 5 minutes, not being like, yo, let's get this thing started, but instead just like letting folks catch up and kind of letting it drift a little bit has been good. Getting dressed has legit been like, like I know I could roll in like sweatpants, or even why wear pants at all? And,
why wear pants? Who says I'm wearing pants even right now?
But getting in the right mindset of like, hey, I'm going somewhere else. I'm going to do something, because it's like been rough. Where every day this week I'm like, what day is it? Like, is it Thursday? Tuesday? Like, what happened yesterday? I'm like, I don't remember. And like, to the point around rituals, like knowing this is Friday, and I'm like, cool, like this is an end of the week thing is good, because now it's you have something you can anchor your time around, whereas like we've just lost that without having the commute or like these rituals in place in the day-to-day. So I've been brewing coffee in the morning. That's like big pot of coffee, sit down, and trying to protect those.
Cool. Nice. I like it. Yeah, the just having to wear pants, for me, wearing the pants is the biggest, like, all right, I'm in work mode now. These are work pants.
Underestimated, or rather undervalued.
Donnie hosted yesterday a Zoom birthday party for her brother, my brother-in-law, and
That's
it
awesome.
was
Nice.
it was very cool, because it was like Donnie's sister and her husband and then her mom and dad, and then Enric and Shobi, and it was like 4 of us on a Zoom call, and Donnie made like a PowerPoint deck, like essentially of like, here are all the messages of everyone, which is super sweet.
Awesome.
And there are baby photos. She's here right now. She's great. And everyone decorated them. It was genuinely adorable. But I was like, this is the best birthday party I've been to in a long time, because it was all under an hour, and like there was little trivia, like everything happened, everyone was like super meaningful, everyone gave full attention, and it just ended. And I was like, that was a genius idea. This is like this is better than the thing we would have done. It's like way more thoughtful. People like that. People have more time definitely to like do stuff like this, which is nice. And it's like Debbie was talking about how like, oh, there's just like one thing I have to do today. Like that's like the one thing I have to look forward to. There's not like all the cascading plans. So I like the digital versions of like the things we used to do, you know, like the things we could have done.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, the digital coffees, the digital lunches are good.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that's like just being normal. Like I remember when like AOL came around and you're like DMing people online and it's like, oh, that's kind of weird. And then like, right, like unlimited texting comes in and that just becomes normal. And no one thinks twice of it today. You know, same with like this sort of thing where it's just like, yeah, like, you know, we had FaceTime or we've had like Zoom calls and video calls, but like these bigger social gatherings around like doing yoga classes or kind of like just kicking it on like a group chat. You know, I wonder how much of this actually sticks around after. And it's like, actually, this is pretty chill. I didn't have to like deal with going outside. Like I have a great liquor cabinet or whatever and stuff I like to make at home. And
I feel like I'm reaching out more to people that aren't in New York.
Yeah.
I don't know if you feel the same way, but like I feel like now, Katie will be on this eventually, was talked about like now all friendships are like remote friendships, right? And we used to have remote friendships too, or remote relationships. But it's kind of equalizing a lot of things too, right? Like my friend in the Philippines and my friend in West Village, it's the same amount of physical contact. So they're going to get the same thing, right? So everyone kind of is equalized a little bit, right? It's kind of interesting. So yeah, I'm obviously spending more time talking to people on like chat apps and definitely way more video calls all day, every day. But they're fun. They're nice.
Team.